The galaxy was wide, filled with countless stars, strange planets, and powerful civilizations. Among these civilizations, one academy was feared by all. It was not a normal academy. It was a place where the fiercest girls in the galaxy trained to become warriors. These girls were faster than machines, stronger than steel, and crueler than fire. They were raised to fight, raised to win, and raised to destroy anyone who stood against them. The name of the academy alone made armies tremble. And in this place, no weak life form was ever allowed to enter. One morning, the academy gates opened. A new student walked in. It was not a tall alien, not a warrior girl, not a beast with claws. It was only a human boy. He looked young, simple, and small compared to the others. He wore no armor, no heavy weapons, no proud marks of victory. The girls stared at him. Some laughed, some whispered, and some even pointed. "What is this?" "A mistake," one alien girl hissed, her voice sharp like broken glass. "Did the academy accept a toy for us to crush?" Another mocked, her eyes glowing with pride. They all laughed, loud and cruel, but the boy only smiled. That smile was not big, not loud, not even proud. It was quiet, soft, and calm. It was the kind of smile that made people uneasy, because it was not the smile of someone weak. It was the smile of someone who knew something they did not, and that smile, small as it was, made the fiercest girls in the galaxy feel a strange chill. The academy master appeared. She was taller than all, her armor heavy, her eyes burning like suns. Her voice was like thunder when she spoke. "This is your new classmate. He comes from a distant world, a world called Earth here. He will train with you, he will fight with you, and he will be tested like you. If he fails, he will not leave alive." The girls cheered, some eager, some hungry for battle, but the boy only smiled. The master studied him for a long time and then turned away. She did not know yet why that smile made her feel uneasy. The first day of training was brutal. The girls showed off their power. One could lift stone as if it were paper. Another could run so fast that she left a trail of burning air. Others shattered targets with claws, wings, or laser eyes. The ground shook with their strength, and the academy filled with the sound of power. The boy watched silently, his smile never leaving when his turn came. The girls crossed their arms, waiting to see him fail. "Let's watch him break," one whispered. "Yes, let's see him cry," another grinned. But he did not break, he did not cry. He did not even hesitate. He stepped forward, looked at the massive block of stone in front of him. The girls expected him to push and fail, to strike and fall. Instead, he simply touched the stone with his hand, then he smiled. No one understood. The stone did not break, the boy did not move. He only stood there, smiling. The girls roared with laughter, calling him useless, but the master frowned. She saw something in his eyes, something that made her uneasy again. It was not weakness, it was not fear. It was something else, something hidden at night. When the training was over, the girls gathered and whispered about him. "Why does he smile?" one asked. "Maybe he is mad," another said. "Maybe he hides a weapon," a third guessed. But none of them knew the fiercest girl of all, the strongest warrior of the academy, sat in silence. Her name was feared even among her own kind. She could crush 10 enemies at once, and her speed was unmatched. But when she thought of the human boy, his face, his calm eyes, and his smile, she felt something she never felt before. Not fear, not anger, but something stranger. Curiosity. The boy slept in his small room alone. The academy lights dimmed. The stars outside shone brightly, and yet even in the dark, even in silence, he was still smiling. It was not the smile of a fool, not the smile of a coward. It was the smile of someone who carried a secret that could shake the entire academy, maybe even the galaxy. The girls thought tomorrow would break him. The master thought tomorrow would test him, but the boy already knew. He was not here by accident. He was here for a reason. And the galaxy's fiercest girl academy had no idea what kind of storm was coming, because the boy who smiled was not weak. He was human, and that smile was only the beginning. The morning sun of a distant star rose over the academy. The training field shimmered with heat, the air filled with the sound of engines, weapons, and roars. Today was the first real test for all new students, a brutal challenge that decided who would stay and who would be erased. For the galaxy's fiercest girls, this test was a chance to prove themselves. For the human boy, everyone thought it would be the end. The training ground was a massive arena. Metal walls rose high, covered with scars from battles past. Machines hovered above, recording every move. The girls gathered, their eyes burning with pride. They wanted to show the human what true strength looked like. They wanted to see his smile vanish. The master stepped forward. Her voice thundered across the arena. Today you will face the first challenge. It is not a game, it is not for fun. Only those who survive earn the right to call themselves warriors of this academy. Only those who fight with all they have will continue. And remember this. Mercy is weakness, the crowd of girls shouted in one voice. Proud and wild, but one voice was silent. The human boy, standing calm, his soft smile never leaving. The challenge began with a test of strength. Huge blocks of metal, heavier than tanks, were dropped into the arena. Each girl stepped forward, lifted them, and roared as the machines recorded their power. One alien girl with 4 arms lifted 2 blocks at once, showing off her strength. Another with glowing wings smashed her block into dust. The arena shook with their might. When the boy's turn came, all eyes turned toward him. Now he will break, they whispered. His bones will snap like glass, another said. The fiercest girl folded her arms. Ready to laugh at his weakness, the boy walked slowly, placed his hands on the massive block. He did not roar, he did not strain. He did not show pain. He only smiled. The block did not move. Not even an inch, the crowd laughed. Their voices sharp, cruel, and proud, but then the boy stepped back. He looked at the block, tilted his head slightly, and still smiled. Interesting, he whispered softly. Almost too soft to hear. The master frowned. She saw something in his eyes again, something she could not explain. The next stage was a test of speed. The students had to cross a field filled with traps, lasers, and moving blades. The alien girls were fast. Some flying, some leaping, some moving like lightning. One left a trail of sparks as she passed through the traps unharmed. Another dodged every laser with wings sharp as blades. The crowd cheered for them, then came the human boy's turn. The crowd waited for blood, for screams. For the end of his foolish smile, the signal was given, and the boy stepped forward. He did not run. He did not jump, he simply walked. Lasers fired, blades swung, traps snapped, and yet none touched him. Every time danger came close, he moved just slightly, a small step to the side, a soft bend of his body. It looked so easy, so natural, as if he knew exactly where each trap would strike. The girls watched in silence, their laughter frozen in their throats. Even the fiercest girl leaned forward, her eyes wide. How could a human, slow and fragile, move through such death so calmly, and still smile? At the final stage, the students had to face each other. Combat one-on-one until only the strong stood tall. The alien girls roared with excitement. This was what they loved most. The fight, the clash of strength. The glory of victory, the boy's name was called. His first opponent was a tall alien with claws like knives and armor like skin. She laughed when she saw him. I will break you in seconds, human, she said. The boy only smiled. The fight began. The alien rushed forward, claws flashing, her speed sharp and deadly. The boy did not block, did not strike. He stepped aside, soft as a whisper. Her claws missed. The ground cracked where she struck. The crowd gasped. The alien attacked again and again, faster, harder, angrier. But the boy kept stepping aside, calm, quiet, always smiling. Not once did he strike her back. Not once did he show fear. At last the alien fell to her knees, exhausted, her claws broken from striking the ground too many times. The boy looked at her, bowed his head slightly, and smiled. I guess this round is done, he said. The crowd was silent, stunned. No one could understand. How did a human, without lifting a hand, defeat an alien warrior? The fiercest girl's fists tightened, her eyes burned. She hated his smile. But she could not look away when the test ended. Many celebrated, many boasted, but whispers spread through the academy like fire. The boy had not shown strength, yet he survived. He had not shown speed, yet he passed. He had not shown violence, yet he won. Who was he? Why did he smile? The fiercest girl finally spoke, her voice cold but curious. I will fight him next, and I will wipe that smile from his face. The boy heard her words, and his smile grew just a little wider because he knew the real challenge was only beginning. The academy was alive with whispers. Every corner, every hall, every training ground echoed with one name, the human boy. He had passed the first challenge without showing strength, without showing violence, without even breaking a sweat. But more than his survival, it was his smile that haunted them. That calm, quiet smile which no blade, no laser, no roar could erase. Among the whispers, one name rose higher than all, the fiercest girl. She was the pride of the academy, the undefeated warrior, the one others followed with fear and respect. Her claws could cut through steel. Her speed was faster than sound. Her eyes burned with the fire of victory. She was not just another student. She was the symbol of the academy itself. And now she had chosen her target. The boy who smiled in the training arena. The students gathered in excitement. They crowded the walls, the seats, and even climbed the railings to see. The fiercest girl was going to fight the human boy. Some shouted for blood, some shouted for honor, but deep down, none believed the boy would last even a breath. "This will be his end," one girl whispered. "He cannot dodge her, he cannot trick her. He cannot hide," another said. But the boy only stood in the center of the arena, calm, silent, smiling. The master raised her hand, her voice loud and cold. "This is not a test, this is not a game. This is a duel of skill. The one who falls will taste defeat. Begin." The fiercest girl moved first, her body blurred, a streak of power faster than the eye could follow. The ground cracked beneath her feet. The air burned from her speed in a blink. Her claws slashed where the boy stood, but the boy was not there. He had stepped aside, calm and gentle, as if he had known where she would strike. The crowd gasped. The fiercest girl's eyes narrowed. Her teeth clenched. She struck again, faster, harder, a storm of claws and fury. But the boy moved with soft steps, slipping through every strike like water through fingers. Always calm, always quiet, always smiling, the fiercest girl roared, her voice shaking the arena. "You dare mock me," she screamed. The boy tilted his head, his smile unchanged. "I am not mocking you," he said softly. "I am only watching." His words cut deeper than any blade. The crowd hissed. The fiercest girl burned with rage. She leapt high, her claws glowing with energy, her body spinning like a storm. A strike that had ended dozens of fights. A move feared across worlds. The boy looked up, his smile steady. At the last moment he bent down, just enough, just small. The claws missed, smashing into the ground with an explosion of dust and fire. The arena shook, the walls trembled. The air filled with smoke. When the dust cleared, the fiercest girl stood panting, her claws buried in stone, and the boy stood a step away, untouched, smiling. The silence was heavy, the crowd frozen. This was impossible, they thought. No one could avoid her storm. No one could survive her claws. And yet the human boy stood calm, his smile brighter than ever. The fiercest girl's chest rose and fell with fury, her pride burning. Never before had someone dared to make her miss. Never before had someone stood before her and smiled. She attacked again, again, and again. The duel turned into a storm. The arena filled with fire, dust, and broken stone. The crowd could barely follow her speed, but the boy kept moving. Soft, small, precise, he never struck her. He never tried to hurt her. He only stepped aside as if he was waiting, as if he was teaching her something she could not understand. And with every strike she missed, with every moment his smile remained. Her fury grew heavier, her pride cracked deeper. At last she stopped, her chest heaving, her claws trembling. She glared at him, her voice sharp with rage. "Why don't you fight me?" she demanded. "Why don't you strike?" The boy looked at her, his eyes calm, his smile soft. "Because I don't need to," he said. The words fell like thunder. The fiercest girl froze, the crowd fell silent. Even the master narrowed her eyes. What did he mean? What was his secret? Why could a human speak with such calmness in the face of death? The fiercest girl roared again, her pride refusing to accept. She raised her claws for one final strike. All her strength, all her fury, all her speed. The boy watched, his smile unchanged. At the last second, when her claws should have torn him apart, he moved forward instead of back. His hand lifted, gentle and slow, and with 2 fingers he touched her wrist. Her claws stopped, frozen in the air. The fiercest girl's eyes widened. The crowd gasped in shock. It was not strength, it was not speed. It was something else, something none of them understood. The boy stepped back, bowed his head slightly, and smiled. "I think this match is done," he said. The fiercest girl lowered her claws, her heart pounding, her pride shaken. She had not been defeated by strength, but by something more terrifying. By a human boy who never stopped smiling. For the first time, she felt a strange new emotion in her chest. Not fear, not hate, but something she could not name. And she hated that smile even more because of it. The duel ended, but the whispers grew louder. Who was he? What was he hiding, and why, in the face of the fiercest girl in the galaxy, did he still smile? Night fell over the academy. The stars outside burned bright, casting silver light across the towers, the training fields, and the endless walls. The day had ended, but the whispers had not. Every student in the academy spoke of the duel. The fiercest girl had fought the human boy, and for the first time she had not won. She had not lost either, but she had failed to break him. And worse than defeat was the memory of his smile, that quiet smile that refused to disappear. In the dining halls, groups of alien girls gathered, their voices sharp and filled with confusion. "How did he survive her claws?" one demanded. "No human should be able to move like that," another hissed. "Maybe he carries hidden weapons," a third guessed. Some laughed nervously, but no one truly believed their own words. The human boy had shown no weapon, no shield, no armor. He had only shown calm eyes and a smile, and that was enough to unsettle the entire academy. In the master's chamber, teachers gathered around a table of glowing screens. They replayed the duel, slowing down every frame. They studied his movements, his steps, his eyes. "He does not move with speed," one teacher whispered. "He moves with knowledge," another answered. "But how could he know every strike before it came?" a third asked. The master remained silent, her eyes narrow. She had lived through wars. She had trained thousands of warriors. But never before had she seen a human like this. A boy who fought without fighting. A boy who smiled in the face of death. Meanwhile, the fiercest girl sat alone in her chamber. Her claws rested on her knees. Her eyes burned with restless fire. She replayed the duel in her mind. Over and over again she saw herself striking. Faster than storms, stronger than thunder, and she saw him calm, stepping aside. Smiling, untouched, her pride ached, her heart twisted. Her mind refused to rest. No enemy had ever left her so confused. No enemy had ever dared to look at her without fear. And yet this boy had done it with a smile. She clenched her fists, her claws cutting into the stone floor. "I will uncover your secret," she whispered. "I will make you show me what you hide." The boy, meanwhile, lay in his small room. The walls were cold, the bed was hard, but he rested as if it were home. His eyes closed, his breathing soft, his smile still there. But even in his sleep, he was not careless. His mind was awake in ways others could not imagine. He had been watching, listening, learning. The academy thought they were studying him, but in truth he was studying them late in the night. Shadows moved across the corridors. A group of curious students crept toward his door. They wanted to test him to see if he was truly human. They whispered plans, sharpened their claws, prepared small traps. But when they opened the door, the room was empty. The bed untouched, the boy gone. Fear crept into their hearts. "Where is he?" one whispered. Before they could speak again, a calm voice came from behind. "You should be asleep." They turned and froze. The boy stood in the hallway, quiet, smiling. Their traps fell useless from their hands. They did not chase him, they only ran. Rumors grew even darker the next day. Some said he never slept. Some said he could vanish into shadows. Some said his smile was a mask hiding something terrifying. The truth was no one knew, and not knowing scared them more than any weapon. The fiercest girl watched him during training. She saw how he never boasted, never struck first, never lost his calm. Others pushed, shouted, roared, but he always remained quiet, steady, smiling. The more she watched, the more she burned inside. What was he hiding? What was he waiting for? Why did he not break like the others one evening? When the halls were empty and the stars glowed red, she followed him, silent as a shadow. Through the corridors, through the gates, into the gardens where the night air was cold. The boy stood alone, staring at the stars, his hands behind his back, his smile soft. The fiercest girl stepped out, her claws shining. "Tell me your secret." "Human," she demanded. The boy turned, his eyes calm. "What secret?" he asked gently. "The way you move, the way you survive, the way you smile. No human can do this. Tell me what you are." The boy looked at her for a long moment, then tilted his head. "I am human," he said. "And that is enough." The fiercest girl's heart shook. Her pride screamed, her claws scraped the ground. But his eyes did not waver. His smile did not fade. That night, she returned to her room restless. Her heart told her he was not lying. But her pride told her he was hiding something more. She looked at her claws, sharp and stained from battles, and for the first time she wondered if strength alone was not enough. If maybe, just maybe, there was something stronger than claws. Faster than speed, louder than victory. The academy slept, but the questions grew like fire. Who was this boy? What was his secret and why? In the darkest hours of night, did his smile shine brighter than the stars? The academy was changing, every student felt it. Every teacher whispered about it. The human boy had become the center of attention, not because of power, not because of glory, but because of his smile. No challenge broke him, no duel shook him, no insult erased that calm expression. For the fiercest girls in the galaxy, this was not just strange, it was unbearable. The master saw the unrest, and she decided the time had come. The students grow soft with doubt, she said, her voice sharp as thunder. They think this boy carries some hidden gift, some secret shield, but today, he will face the breaking point, and there, all masks will fall. The breaking point was a trial older than the academy itself, a test so brutal that many failed and never returned. It was not about strength alone, not about speed alone. It was about survival in the face of despair. The arena for this trial was no simple stage. It was a shifting world of fire, storm, and endless traps. Every wall could kill, every shadow could strike, every step could lead to death. Only the strongest ever walked out. And today the boy would enter. The students gathered in silence. Even the fiercest girl stood without her usual pride, her eyes burning with something deeper. She wanted to see him broken, wanted to see his smile shattered, but another part of her wanted to see if he could survive. The gates opened, the boy stepped in, calm as always, his small smile on his lips. The crowd leaned forward, waiting. The trial began with fire. Flames burst from the ground, walls of heat rose high. Alien girls before had screamed, had burned, had fallen. But the boy walked through the fire as if it were a breeze. He did not rush. He did not stumble. He stepped with calm, each movement precise. The flames licked his skin but never touched him fully. His clothes carried smoke, but his smile carried light. The crowd whispered in disbelief. Next came the storm. Winds like blades tore across the arena. Lightning cracked from the skies. Even the strongest girls had fallen here, cut by winds, broken by thunder. The boy stood still at first, his eyes half closed, then he moved, soft, small, like a leaf drifting with the wind. The lightning struck around him, the wind screamed past him, but he never resisted, he never fought the storm. He flowed with it, bent with it, passed through it. The storm raged, but his smile did not. The traps came after. Metal spikes rose from the ground. Blades spun from the walls. Machines hissed as they tried to tear him apart. The crowd leaned closer, certain this time would end him. But the boy walked lightly. Every step just enough, every move just in time. The spikes missed by inches, the blades cut air. The machines struck shadows, and he moved forward, quiet, steady, smiling. It looked less like survival and more like a dance, a human dance inside a storm of death. But the final stage was different. This was the true breaking point. The arena shifted, walls closed, the sky darkened, and from the shadows rose an enemy. It was not a student, not a teacher, not even alive. It was a machine built only to destroy, taller than towers, claws of steel, eyes burning red. It roared with the sound of engines and charged at the boy. The crowd screamed. The fiercest girl's heart pounded. This, they thought. No human could survive. The machine struck, claws tearing the ground. The boy moved, but not away. He stepped closer, his hand brushing the air as if guiding the strike. The claw missed, smashing into stone. The machine attacked again, faster, harder, deadlier. But the boy moved with the same soft steps. Small bends, quiet tilts, again and again the machine missed. The arena shook with its fury, but the boy remained untouched. Always calm, always smiling. Finally, the machine raised its claws for a killing blow. The fiercest girl leaned forward. Her breath caught. The crowd held their silence. And then the boy looked up, his eyes calm, his voice soft. Enough, he said. He stepped aside at the perfect moment. The machine's claws struck its own chest. Tearing into its core, it roared, sparks flying, and then collapsed in a storm of smoke and fire. The arena was silent. The boy stood alone. The flames fading, the smoke rising, his smile still there. He had faced the breaking point, and he had not broken. The master's eyes narrowed, her heart unsettled. The teachers whispered in fear, the students stared in awe, and the fiercest girl clenched her fists, her pride burning, her heart twisting. She had wanted to see him broken, but instead she saw him rise higher. The trial ended. The boy stepped out of the arena. He bowed his head slightly, his smile quiet and calm. The crowd could not cheer, could not laugh, could not even whisper. They only stared at the human who refused to fall. The fiercest girl met his eyes across the crowd. Her claws trembled, her chest heavy. She had thought him weak, thought him small, thought him fragile. But now she saw something she feared more than strength. A human who smiled even at the edge of death. And deep inside her heart a voice whispered, "If he cannot be broken here, then maybe nothing in the galaxy can break him." The academy had changed after the breaking point. No one could deny it now. The human boy had survived fire, storm, traps, and even the machine of death. He had walked through it all without anger, without fear, without striking a single blow, and yet he had won. His smile had not faded. His calm had not broken, and that made him more frightening than any warrior. But fate was not done with the academy. For on the third night after the breaking point, the alarm screamed, red lights filled the halls, heavy doors locked into place, and the sky above turned dark with enemy ships. The academy was under attack. An army of raiders, mercenaries, and war beasts had come to crush the strongest warriors of the galaxy. The girls rushed to their stations, their weapons glowing, their armor shining. This was their moment. The reason they trained to fight and to kill. But one figure moved slower than the rest. The boy, calm as always, his soft smile still there. The fiercest girl roared as she led the charge. Her claws blazed with power. Her speed cut through the invaders like lightning. Around her, the other girls fought with fury. Blades flashing, wings burning, voices roaring. The academy became a battlefield, fire and steel clashing under the stars. But the human boy did not fight like them. He moved differently, quietly. Where others struck to kill, he struck to save. Where others rushed forward, he stepped aside to pull a wounded student away. When a building collapsed, he held up the beams long enough for the trap to escape. And when enemies fell before him, he did not finish them, he let them live. The fiercest girl noticed. Between her strikes, between her roars, her eyes followed him. At first she thought it was weakness, a coward's trick, a fool's hesitation. But the more she watched, the more uneasy she became. Because his mercy was not weakness, it was choice. And that choice carried more weight than any blade. The battle raged on, enemies screaming, weapons burning. The academy walls breaking. The fiercest girl was surrounded. 3 raiders closing in. Their weapons sharp, their laughter cruel. Before she could strike, the boy appeared. Calm as ever. He did not roar. He did not attack. He only stepped between her and the raiders. His hand lifted, soft, steady, the raiders charged. But in seconds they were on the ground. Not dead, not bleeding, only unconscious. Their weapons scattered, the girl stared, her heart pounding. "You saved me," she whispered, almost in disbelief. The boy only smiled. "I couldn't let you fall," he said. She clenched her fists, anger and confusion burning inside her. "Why didn't you kill them?" she demanded. "They would have killed us without hesitation." The boy tilted his head, his eyes calm. "Because killing is easy," he answered. "But mercy is harder." His words cut through her pride sharper than any blade. She wanted to argue, wanted to roar, wanted to strike him, but she could not, because in her heart something shifted. The battle ended with the academy's victory. The invaders fled, their ships burning, their weapons shattered. The girls roared in triumph, their claws raised high, their voices echoing through the night. But the boy stood apart, quiet, watching the stars, his smile still there. The fiercest girl approached him, her claws still stained with blood, her chest heavy with confusion. "You are strange, human," she said, her voice softer than before. "You smile when others fear. You spare when others kill. Do you not understand? Mercy makes you weak." The boy looked at her, his eyes calm, his voice steady. "No," he said. "Mercy makes me stronger." The word struck her deeper than claws. She thought of all the battles she had fought, all the enemies she had killed. She thought of the pride, the glory, the victories. But never once had she felt what she felt now. She had been saved not by strength, but by mercy. And that mercy hurt her pride more than any defeat, because it made her question everything she had believed. The academy returned to silence. The fires put out, the halls rebuilt, but the whispers grew louder. Some girls began to ask if the boy was right. Others scoffed, calling him a fool. But none could forget the image of him standing in the fire, calm, smiling, sparing enemies who would never spare him. The master watched too, her eyes dark with thought. She had trained warriors to crush, to kill, to conquer. But here was a boy teaching something else. Something dangerous, something powerful. She feared it. because she did not understand it. And what one does not understand is often more dangerous than any blade. The fiercest girl lay awake that night, her claws rested by her side. Her heart restless, her mind burning. She hated him still, hated his smile, hated his calm, but she could not erase his words. "Mercy makes me stronger." She whispered the words to herself, over and over, and for the first time in her life, she did not know if her claws were enough. The academy slept, the stars above silent, but deep in the shadows of her heart, the fiercest girl knew. The boy had changed something inside her, and change, she realized, was scarier than defeat. The academy was quiet. The war was over, the invaders gone, the walls rebuilt, but the silence was not peace. It was the silence of questions, of whispers, of doubt. Every student looked at the human boy differently now, not as weak, not as strange, but as something they could not explain. He had survived the breaking point. He had faced fire, storm, and machines. He had saved students during battle, even the fiercest girl herself. And he had done it all without killing, without breaking, without losing that smile to the girls. It was impossible to the boy, it was simply human. The fiercest girl sat alone in her chamber, her claws resting by her side. Her heart was restless, her pride wounded, her mind burning. She remembered every duel, every strike, every victory of her life. But none of them stayed in her memory the way his smile did. That calm smile which had faced her claws, the storms, the enemies, and never faded. She hated it, and yet she could not stop thinking about it. At last, she could not stay silent. She marched into the garden where he often stood at night. There he was again, under the stars, hands behind his back, smiling softly. The cold air brushed against him, but he did not shiver. The night was dark, but his smile carried light. The fiercest girl stepped forward, her voice sharp though it trembled inside. "Why do you smile, human?" she demanded. "What secret do you carry? What makes you so calm, so unbroken? Tell me, or I will force the truth from you." The boy turned, his eyes calm, his smile unchanged. "I smile," he said softly, "because I know something you don't." The fiercest girl's claws scratched the ground, her pride roaring. "And what is that?" she growled. The boy looked at the stars, then back at her. "That strength is not only in claws, not only in speed, not only in killing. Strength is in choice, in courage, in mercy, and in the strange hope that even enemies can change." The fiercest girl froze, her chest heavy, her heart shaking. She had been taught since birth that mercy was weakness, that killing was victory, that fear was power. But this boy had stood before storms, machines, and death, and he had survived with nothing but mercy and a smile. How could mercy be weak if it had carried him through everything? She sank to her knees, her claws digging into the soil, her voice cracked with rage and confusion. "Why did you not kill me when you had the chance?" she asked. "Why did you spare me when I wanted to crush you?" The boy stepped closer, his hand soft as he placed it over hers. "Because you are not my enemy," he said. "You are my teacher, even if you don't know it. You showed me fury and I showed you mercy. Now we both must choose which one is stronger." The fiercest girl's eyes burned, but not with anger. Tears shimmered there. Strange and unfamiliar, she had never cried in battle, never cried in pain, but now under the stars, with a human boy smiling before her, her pride cracked, her walls shattered. And for the first time, she felt something new, not fear, not rage, but respect. The next day, the academy gathered, the master stood tall, her eyes sharp as ever, but even she could not hide the change in the air. The fiercest girl stepped forward, her claws hidden, her voice steady. "I wish to speak," she said. The crowd fell silent, waiting. She looked at the human boy, then back at the students. "This human has taught me something I never thought I would accept. That strength is not only to destroy, strength is also to protect. Strength is to choose when not to kill, and I, who was the fiercest of this academy, admit that he has changed me." The crowd gasped, whispers rising, no one could believe it. The fiercest girl, the undefeated, the pride of the galaxy, admitting change because of a human boy. The master's eyes narrowed, her pride wounded. But even she could not deny what was before her. The boy only smiled, his calm unchanged. He did not boast, he did not roar, he only bowed his head slightly, as if this was never about victory. The fiercest girl stepped closer, her claws folded, her voice soft. "Tell me one last thing, human. What are you truly?" The boy lifted his eyes, his smile quiet but unshaken. "I am human," he said, "and that is enough." The academy fell silent. The stars above seemed brighter. The air seemed lighter for the first time. The fiercest girl did not feel the need to strike. She did not feel the need to roar. She only felt the strange truth in his words. And in her heart she knew the boy had not come to defeat them. He had come to change them, and in changing them, he had already won. That night, the fiercest girl stood beside him under the stars. She did not call him weak, she did not call him strange. She only stood there, silent, her claws resting, her heart calm, and for the first time she smiled too. The galaxy's fiercest academy had trained warriors for centuries. But it took one human boy, with nothing but calm eyes and a soft smile, to teach them the greatest lesson of all, that sometimes mercy hurts more than claws, and sometimes the gentlest smile is the strongest weapon of all.